Today, we're diving into the story of Martin Luther, a man whose very private, very personal crisis of faith ended up sparking a public revolution that honestly reshaped the entire world. So, it all boils down to this one kind of crazy question. How on earth did one single monk, a guy totally tormented by his own soul, accidentally start a revolution that shattered the religious unity of Europe? I mean, that was never his plan, but that's exactly what happened. You have to picture it. In the early 1500s, Martin Luther isn't trying to be a revolutionary. Not at all. He's a really devout monk, a priest, a professor, but on the inside, he's in absolute turmoil. He is terrified of a wrathful God, and he's obsessed, just completely obsessed, with one question. How can a person like me, a flawed human being, possibly be saved? Now, right at this exact moment, the church is raising money for this massive project, the new St. Peter's Basilica in Rome, and one of the ways they're doing it is by selling something called indulgences. The pitch was pretty simple. You give us some money, and in return, you or a loved one gets to spend less time suffering in purgatory. For Luther, this was just horrifying. It looked like the church was literally putting salvation up for sale. So while he's wrestling with all this, he's deep in his study of the Bible, especially the letter to the Romans. And then, bam, he has this incredible breakthrough. He comes to believe that salvation isn't something you can earn with good deeds or buy with cash. No, it's a free gift from God, and the only way to receive it is through faith. This one idea, justification by faith alone, became the absolute center of his world, and it put him on a direct collision course with Rome. So, the event that lit the fuse for this whole explosion, well, it wasn't meant to be a rebellion. Not even close. It was supposed to be a quiet conversation, just a formal academic debate among a few theologians. On October 31st, 1517, he sends a letter to the local archbishop, and attached to it are 95 points for debate, his famous theses. Now, that story you've probably heard about him dramatically nailing them to a church door in Wittenberg? Yeah, that's almost certainly a legend that grew up way later. The real story is a bit less dramatic. He sent a formal challenge through the proper channels. But this is where technology completely hijacks history. Luther was expecting a quiet, scholarly chat. What he got was a firestorm. Thanks to the brand new printing press, his private academic points went viral. Within weeks, his 95 theses were being printed and read all over Germany. What started as a letter became a manifesto, and a simple dispute turned into a full-blown movement. The massive public support for his ideas, combined with some really fierce opposition from Rome, it just pushed the whole situation to a breaking point. What began as a call for a simple reform spiraled into open defiance against the entire church establishment. There was no going back. And the speed of this escalation is just incredible. In 1519, he's publicly arguing that even the Pope can get it wrong. By 1520, the Pope issues an order demanding he take it all back, and what does Luther do? He publicly burns the document. So by early 1521, he's kicked out of the church, excommunicated. And then comes the final showdown just a few months later, when he's summoned to stand before the most powerful man in Europe, the Holy Roman Emperor, at a meeting called the Diet of Worms. It's here, where he's ordered to recant every single thing he's written, that Luther makes his legendary stand. He basically says his conscience is bound to the word of God, not to what popes or councils say. This was it, the ultimate act of defiance. It cemented his role as the leader of a new movement against the two biggest powers in Europe, the Pope and the Emperor. But see, defiance wasn't his only legacy. After the Diet of Worms, he's declared an outlaw and whisked away into hiding for his own safety. But he doesn't just sit there. He starts this monumental task of actually building a new way to practice Christianity, one that would be accessible to everybody. I mean, the things he accomplished were huge. He translated the New Testament into everyday German, so for the first time, regular people could actually read the sacred text for themselves. He wrote these powerful hymns that whole congregations could sing together. He even totally redefined what it meant to be a clergyman by getting married and starting a family. He wasn't just changing theology, he was reshaping the entire culture. And we really can't overstate the impact of his German Bible. It did way more than just spread his ideas. It was so widely read, so influential, that it actually helped to standardize and unify the German language itself. Think about that, an incredible cultural legacy born from one religious text.